Okay, we going. Is this a fine place to stand? I want to flip this around. I've got selfie camera open, but like I don't think it tells you. Oh, look, I can see the battery better when it's not flipped around. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, to have it flipped around or to not have it flipped around. Doesn't like a time or something not show up? I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, my room's an absolute mess right now. I've got this horrible rash. A horrible part of me. It's actually most parts of me, but this one in particular. I'm tactile. I end up with a lot of different interests over my life, thus far at least. And I had my shirt tucked in earlier, jacket rather. It's not fashion. It's kind of anti-fashion actually. But I end up with a lot of hobbies in my life. A lot of interests, I should say, and the way that I best enjoy and probably effectively learn about things when possible is tangibly touching stuff. Whatever. This is since I'm holding it now, it's the replacement cable for a can you guess it? Can you guess it? For a Dreamcast controller. Which, oh, I'm such a chump. I bought two of them. I had a huge Dreamcast phase. Well, I grew up with Dreamcast. Dreamcast is, if you don't know, oh shoot, now I'm going to talk about Dreamcast. If you don't know about Dreamcast, we should all be playing Dreamcasts today. Sega Dreamcast, but alas, man, this is a little dusty and my room's just a mess right now. Dust is in the air. I can feel it growing in the air tonight. Anyway, so the Dreamcast 98 to like 2001, 2, something like that. You know, the last time I did a long video, it was overexposed. Can I lower the exposure here? My battery's about to die, I think. Literally, like, right when I said that my battery was about to die, it died. Fortunately, I always have backups, and also fortunately, the brand K-Star, I don't know how they call themselves. That brand, they make really good products. Replacement batteries for handycams for really any vintage, like 80s, 90s battery-powered electronic you can imagine. This is a 4-battery charger. It gets a little finicky. I have 2 original handycam batteries and then 2 aftermarket K-Star ones. And if you plug in the aftermarket with the originals, they are different what is it? Not wattage. Well, maybe wattage. No, they wouldn't be different wattages. They're different milliamp hours. And it just doesn't really like to charge different milliamp hours at the same time, so that's a bummer, but I get it. I wouldn't want to if I was a battery charger. Anyway, all this to say, nothing actually, there was nothing to say that. I was talking about Sega Dreamcast. This battery's actually pretty low too, that's funny. I was supposed to be talking about movies. Sega Dreamcast. A beautiful thing. I grew up with it. It was the first console, I guess, that my family had, other than Windows 98. But that's not a console. I gotta poop now. My butthole's going. Anyway, Sega Dreamcast, extremely innovative, ahead of its time, I think. We have, like, this is a normal controller for it. Looks like that. Well, this is a little special one because it's got the blue translucent shell, which is super cool. Oh, I was going to talk about my phase with it. Let me talk about that in a second. Anyway, the controllers, they look like that. They're corded, of course. You could get a rumble pack. Looks like this. And there are 2 ports here. Usually put your rumble pack in the bottom one, and that will make it so that if like you're playing I don't know, your controller shakes. So if you're playing Star Wars Pod Racers and you crash into something and it goes, this is called a VMU, virtual memory unit, visual memory unit, right? Visual memory unit, VMU. This should have been everything. This was it. This is your memory card. I think older, at least my PlayStation 2 Slim that I had growing up, you had to actually plug in a little memory card into the console itself. For Dreamcast, you have it as this, you plug it into the controller, that's your memory card for games or whatever. And as you play, I kind of talked about this in Sonic the Hedgehog video that I just did, you'll have little characters pop up on the screen that's loosely relevant to what you're doing in the game. But the fun thing about the VMU, since it's visual, you could also, well, not since, but hand in hand with it being visual, you have one of these. Do I have any other VMUs up here? I don't think so. You have one of these. You put a little CR2032 battery in the back, actually two of them, and then you can, it's got like a little gamepad there. On the go, you can take your VMU and you can play mini games associated with the game that you've got like memory stored on this for. So like if I play Sonic Adventure, I could play a Sonic Adventure minigame here. So it's like the Switch kind of, or whatever. You know, it was like the first console and handheld all at once, but like you play a different game on the handheld, like completely revolutionary, super crazy. And even better yet, you have one of these, your buddy has one of these, you guys are traveling together, this isn't like, it's a little clunky, but you can plug them into each other. I can kind of show with the rumble pack, like that's the fitting there. They won't really work because the rumble pack has a little tab that prevents it from plugging in because it's not supposed to. But you could plug them into each other and play mini games against each other. So super freaking revolutionary. Downside was not a ton, at least to my knowledge, not a ton of, which I'm not an expert, not a ton of game developers actually took advantage of the VMU. They made games for the Sega Dreamcast alright, but there wasn't a ton to actually do on the go with the VMU, which is a bummer. Because if there was more to do, perhaps it would have taken off a little more. But what really killed the Dream, like this thing in itself, and there are so many different like editions of VMUs. You can get different colors. Just like this thing is blue, normal one is white. I've got one over there. But you could have like a translucent blue one of these. There are different, especially Japanese models. There are fun little varieties, like a pink Hello Kitty one. I have one that's got the Caution Seaman dude on it, which if you know Caution Seaman, you know what's up. There's like camo ones, all different kinds of stuff, and you can get a little cap for the top too. VMUs could have been it. Could have been it. But that resonance that I just said could have been it in was perfect to make that vibrate. Anyway, the reason we don't have Sega Dreamcast in everybody's home, in every funeral home, and everything you could imagine right now is because of the Japanese market. They didn't care about this. Well, maybe they did, but that wasn't the biggest thing. What the Japanese market cared about, which is ultimately what determined, if I understand things correctly, what determined the winner in the whole Sega versus Sony power struggle there. Because we had Sega Dreamcast come out at about the same time as the PlayStation. Was it the original PlayStation, PS1? I don't remember differences, whatever. It's been a long time since I've thought about any of this. But basically, the Japanese people really liked home movies as well. We here in America, we liked movies, we liked video games, great. We would have, you know, our Sega Dreamcast or whatever console, and we'd have our DVD player with maybe a VCR DVD combo unit. Garbage, but whatever, we did it anyway. The Japanese people, I don't remember exact reasoning, but the Sony PlayStation, when it came out, you could play your video games on it, but you could also watch a movie on it. And being able to watch a movie and play games in the same unit, meaning you don't have to have a separate DVD player, that did it. so 11 o'clock. So yeah, basically, Sony, since the PlayStation could do both movies and video games, the Japanese market flooded to that, and despite the crazy innovation of the VMU, it just didn't catch on in the way it would have needed to for it to have picked up over PlayStation, or even held its own against the PlayStation. Which is crazy, because the VMU is like the coolest thing ever. It should have been so freaking big, but what can you do? And also, if game developers had made more stuff for the VMU, I don't know. I hope you all see the potential there. I'm signaling to it. It's like right in front of the camera, so I'll put like this recipe right there. The VMU. All that. What the heck? Where was I going? Tactile. I had something back when I was in like middle school. I would buy broken PlayStation 3s and Sega Dreamcasts on eBay, and I'd repair them and resell them. Technically, I guess I lied about my age on PayPal or eBay or both, and at some point I needed to like verify my address, and I accidentally told them I'm underage, and then I got shut down. But whatever. That was my little enterprise there. I still have a lot of Sega Dreamcasts flying around and a couple PlayStation 3s. If anyone wants one, hit me up. You couldn't see, but I also did a little thing with my knee. Sega Dreamcast, super cool. Why was I talking about that? Tactile, maybe is what I was going off of. I got this thing where whenever I get into an interest, I want to like tangibly understand stuff. And I'm a collector, an archivist, if you will. Yes, that's where we're going. All this to say, as my hobbies develop, I usually end up with a lot of relevant material goods to them, like clocks or whatever. I've got many more there are clocks behind. There's another clock right behind here. It's a little anniversary clock. That one's not running. It's fully serviced. I took it all apart, cleaned it, ultrasonic, oiled it. I have one running anniversary clock right now. You're about to see just how messy my room is at the present time. But that's a necessary evil. She's running. Doesn't have the right time though, because I stopped it for a bit and I never felt like resetting the time. So, oh well. Where are we going? I've got all these hobbies. And at some point, you have to purge, you know? You gotta go through the purge. And get rid of all the stuff that's like no longer a prime interest, because otherwise you're just gonna be a hoarder. And like if you're able to recognize, at least for me, that like you want to have the object so that you can learn about it, then once you've learned and done your thing, like great, it's a part of you, get rid of it. But for it to be like fully a part of me, I feel like I have to catalog it in some manner. So like Star Wars, I had a really big Star Wars phase in late high school, I guess. Literally had just about every single Star Wars book that was in Legends, and that includes like here. I guess I can show a little here. That includes all these kids' books here. Galaxy of Fear. I guess I don't have 1, 2, 3, 4, no 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I should have had all of the Marvel Omnibus here. But I'll tell you what happened. You know, I got a lot of these. I used to have a couple of Volume 11, which if you know the Star Wars Adventure Journal, you know what that means. Yeah. Books there. There's Star Wars books hiding back there. I'm purging Star Wars books at present. Oh, there's a cool one that I've got. The whatever hardcover of Young Jedi Knights. Never did get Black Sun. The gem. I should have had all of the Marvel comic omnibus, but what happened, I won an auction back in like, I want to say 2016, 15 on eBay for, here, let me turn this exposure back down. That was an auction of every single omnibus, and I had only paid like $450, which if you know the omnibus set, you know that that's like crazy low price. It came out to like, I don't know, like $10 each, and it was the complete set. I already had a number of them individually, but I was like, the complete set, I can sell off the dupes, and we'll be good. So the dude had to ship it in 2 boxes, because, you know, it was a lot of books, it's heavy. So he shipped them both. I only had on eBay tracking for one, which just as well, one box arrived, and I was like, okay, the other one's just trailing behind. Second box never arrived. I asked the dude, he's like, I shipped them both out, and I thought like maybe he was playing a fast one on me. He thought I was playing a fast one on him. Turns out a couple weeks, like we go through USPS, the postmaster, all this stuff. Eventually I get in the mail a little like business envelope with a translucent, transparent cover, little film cover, and it's got the packing, like the cardboard flap, the top flap with the packing label, shipping label rather. It's just got like that piece of cardboard in there that belonged to the other box, and they're just like, here's your product. And yeah, stolen, I can only assume stolen in post, because you know sometimes like with media mail, USPS is allowed to check it to make sure it's media. I'm guessing, I can only assume that like either a post office employee or somebody else along the way, because it had to have been in transit for them to have had that top. Somebody took it, and it disappeared. And that had like, that box had the money makers of the omnibus set. It had like the Knights of the Old Republic, it had the Quinlan Voss, might have had the Clone Wars as well. I was pissed, the dude was pissed. The dude ended up giving me a half refund, because it was like literally half the set. Anyway, I still hold that grudge today. I like, shortly after that auction ended and like that whole debacle with the shipping issue or loss in shipping, whatever, shortly after that, a couple years or something short, is when like Disney already had Star Wars, I think, but that's when like The Force Awakens came out. Basically, if you followed Star Wars media price trends, prices were like around here for a bit, and then all of a sudden they just went like that, and now they're just here. Normal mass market paperback books like this, they've kind of always stayed the same, but when it comes to the more specialty stuff, I'm trying to go like that to point down there, stuff like that kind of went up. I think now it's fallen back down a little bit, but basically, if I wanted to have purchased again those books that never did come to me, just like that half of the collection, $220 worth according to the end price there, $220, it would have been like another $800, because those were like the big money ones. Grudge I still have today, so technically I never did have the full omnibus set, but I did end up with a lot of the Marvel trade paperback stuff, so I was happy enough. All of this is just because, oh yes, I brought up Star Wars because the way, when I was in my Star Wars phase, the way that I would like catalog things that I have consumed, content, I'm a completionist, content that I had consumed, was I went on StarWarsReadingOrder.com, which is a great website if you're a Star Wars fan and you want to track your journey. They have listings of basically all Star Wars media that's out, and you like, you know, you can rate it, you click if you've read it, and then you can go through, you get, I mean, doesn't like make a big deal. It's very low budget site, it seems. No offense to T. Starnes if it is actually high budget, but it feels very just like archival type stuff, not glamorous in any way. But I'd use that to track my progress, and basically, tracking progress. Where we're heading with this is, now that I'm kind of in my VHS phase, I want to, VHSs, you know, they take up a bit of space. I want to be able to catalog it for myself, like to say that I have consumed this, and then I want to be able to move on. But like, how do you catalog VHSs, maybe an Excel spreadsheet, whatever. What I've been doing recently, as some of y'all may know, I say y'all as if I have some sort of following. This whole channel This is just me having fun. I'm not doing this for any other reason than like it's a fun time. I've been doing movie reviews, and they've really not been reviews. They've been a synopsis. It takes too long though to do an hour-long synopsis of an hour-and-a-half long movie. It's absolutely absurd. Super stupid if you watch it all the way through. So cheers to you if you do. Find something better to do with your life. Basically, I've got all these movies that I have seen, and I want to get rid of them. So I'm just going to kind of briefly go over them to catalog them. And then I'm going to, if they're in good shape, then I'm going to give them to a record store downtown, which also sells VHS. Dude, they're mad pretty cool. Not going to give him stuff like this, where the case is cracked, unless he wants it, but I'll offer it to him. So, here we go. Ma and Pa Kettle at the Fair. Ma and Pa Kettle at the Fair. Runtime, hour 20 minutes. It's in black and white. And this is from 1951. We've got here, in their newest adventure, the Kettle's eldest daughter, Rosie, Lori Nelson, who while I was watching, I was like, dang, Lori Nelson, Rosie, for being the daughter of Pa Kettle, she's a looker. And I look up Lori Nelson. She was like an actual model in the 50s, so whatever. Lori Nelson, Rosie wants to go to college, and Ma and Pa Kettle, Marjorie Main and Percy Kilbride, are at their wits' end trying to raise the money. With Pa shunning even the suggestion of work, they turn their attention to the county fair where Ma is sure she can win the jam and bread-making contests, while Pa sets his sight on the trotting race. Due to a maddening clerical error, Ma's winning jam is disqualified, and her bread-making winnings are traded by Pa for a decrepit old plow horse. With Rosie's future hanging in the balance, Pa takes the reins and sends his nag, which will only run when frightened by a rattlesnake, after the big money. There are plenty of surprises along the way, but things have a ridiculous though supremely satisfying way of always working out for the Kettles. Maine and Kilbride continue to delight as cantankerous but good-natured Ma and lazy but enterprising Pa, characters who have come a long way since they are first introduced in The Egg and I. Okay, sorry, I thought that there was going to be more to that sentence. Anyway, so this movie, that synopsis, or that back of the thing really basically says it all. Pa, they're, can I say Hicks? They're Hicks. Pa just, he seems really nice. He's like, soft-spoken, just kind of goes around. I guess is kind of rude to people, but everyone loves him, it seems. But also everyone's like, don't give money to this guy. He doesn't work. He just kind of like goes around. Hey, I'm shaking everything. Like, hey, can I borrow money? Where'd the dog bark? What are you barking at, dog? Anyway, she probably heard me jumping and thought it was someone outside. Where were we? So yeah, Pa, he will not work. He's got a big family, if I recall correctly. But he won't work. He's always borrowing money from people, and like, I guess never really paying them back. And finally people are like, we're not giving you any more money, Pa. Ma, on the other hand, and he's like a little bit like, borrow money from this guy so that I can pay off this guy, and now I gotta pay off that guy, so I'm gonna, one of those kinds of deals, loan shark type stuff, but he's getting around it. And Ma is like super nice, but also really stern, and like, don't fuck with Ma. But she's cool, I mean, look at that face. You wouldn't want to mess with her. But she also, like, morally, she's really set straight. I should say ethically. Yeah, it's from the 50s, so you're kind of like, well, what are we going to have going on here? We do have a little of it. There are these two white guys that play Native Americans, and they do like the old I'm an Indian kind of accent, and it's a little, like, I don't think it's terrible, but it's also like, okay, product of the times, it's from the 50s, this would not pass nowadays, but it's not like really bad. I think maybe there are a couple times where it's like, oh, it's the Indians that are like stealing money or whatever. So it's not the best, but I've definitely seen worse, for whatever that's worth. Yeah, so as Pa is like trying to come up with money to send Rosie to school, one thing that he decides to do is I forget. I watched this in two sittings. One sitting, I finished it just like yesterday or 2 days ago. The first sitting was months ago. But at some point in that first sitting, Pa decided that he was gonna like do a life insurance kind of dealio to get Rosie money. So he literally like gets a big life insurance claim, stake, whatever, for himself, and then like blindfolds himself and walks out into busy traffic, which this is set not in the 50s. It's got to be set in like the 30s or 20s or something. I don't know. Maybe not that late. But he just like walks out into traffic and is hoping to get hit and die or go to the hospital at least, so that he can get an insurance claim. And instead of getting hit, he just causes chaos all around him. Other people get hit, cars, trucks run into each other, and he just causes all this destruction. And when he gets to the other side of the road, he like goes like that, and he's like, and just goes on with his life. Not his problem, you know. So that's a hoot, kind of. There were parts of this that were like genuinely kind of funny, and there are other parts around like, I guess for the 50s that's funny, but like I'm not laughing. Not even in like a racist way. Like there's one scene when they finally get to the county fair, and the horse race. The horse race is a big thing. Pa's just always like doing. Sorry, another fun thing. All of the city folk, all the people in their town, refer to these people as Ma and Pa. Like surely they have names, but they refer to them as Ma and Pa. Everyone else has an actual name, but these people are always Ma and Pa to everyone, that's funny. But one thing that happens, Ma, looking all like, I don't know, I guess traditional there, she, in order to sabotage Pa in a horse race, she pulls her panties off, like in public, and uses those as a slingshot, and like shoots it at the horse that Pa is trotting about in. And she does that for good-hearted reasons, because everybody has bet on this one horse to win the horse race, and suddenly Pa, against all odds, is starting to win. And somebody sitting next to Ma is like, if Pa wins, everybody else in the town has bet on Dixie, which means that the town will be bankrupt because nobody will have won, and everyone has put like everything on Dixie. And she's like, oh, well, we can't have that. She also says we can't have that because there'd be no one to lend us money anymore. But I think that it's supposed to imply that she does like have good intentions. She wants to take care of the people of town, but also we won't be able to borrow. So she's like, I'm going to sabotage my husband for the greater good. And yeah, she pulls off her panties. One funny bit, so they are supposed to be like low education, dimwits and all. They, near the end of the movie, they end up in prison because they're accused of poisoning the other horse races intentionally to make Pa win, which they didn't do. They, in a sense, did do it like by proxy, but it wasn't intentional. But anyway, they end up in a prison cell, and the sheriff or like prison ward or whatever is trying to help them out because this guy's saying like, yeah, the townspeople are really upset. They are probably going to hang you guys for poisoning these horses. Like you're gonna meet your maker on account of this. So the prisoner, he's like, or the prison guard, he's visiting them in their cell, and he's like, you know, if you guys just, or what is it? If I just happen to like drop the key to your cell, and you guys happen to pick it up and unlock your cell, you might be able to just walk out and get out of town while I'm on my smoke break. Anyway, I'm gonna go on that smoke break now. Drops key, and Pa's just like holding on to the cell. He's like, Sam, you dropped your key. And the guy's like, oh, thanks, Pa. Picks up the key, trying to give Pa and Ma another chance to escape and not be hung. He's like, well, okay, I guess I'm going to go on my smoke break now, but let's see if this key fits in this jail cell. puts it in. He puts it in the door, turns it, unlocks the cell door, and he's like, "Oh, look at that, a perfect fit. Well, I'm gonna go on that smoke break now." And then Pa's like, Sam, come back. You left your key right in the jail cell door. We could have just gotten out and left." And all that, and Sam's like, and yeah, rinse and repeat that like 3 times or whatever. That was kind of funny. And then the Indians, the Native American people played by white guys, also try to break them out, but Ma and Pa, they're both collectively too dim-witted to realize that this is a rescue attempt. And then once all of these attempts to get them out of the jail cell fail, they just turn to each other. This is when this is when Ma is also added as kind of being a dimwit. She, ma, ma, na, na. IPA stuff if you ill with that. So after all that, Ma turns to Pa and she's like, "I wish there was some way for us to just escape out of here." And it was kind of funny. Anyway, things do work out for them. I won't get into it, but they end up being given money for Marjorie and kind of praised as heroes. Sorry, for Marjorie? That's the person that played Ma. For Rosie. They get money, they're not going to be hung, so life's good. Out of 5 stars, if you like older movies, I'm gonna say, like, if you're a fan of 50s black and white stuff, I say give it a watch. It's fun. If you're not, don't watch it. Don't waste your time. I'm gonna say it's like a 3.1. So for my scaling, it's like 5 is a great thing, you have to watch it. 1 is like really avoid watching it because it's a waste of time, and 3 is like it's a fine enough thing. Watch it if you want. Don't watch it if you don't want. 3.1. I enjoyed it. It was fun. I'm not gonna watch it again, but it was fun. If I see another Ma and Pa kettle thing, if it's like a buck at a thrift store, sure, I'll get it. The Return of the Three Musketeers is what we've got now. I've told myself that I should rewatch this, but I won't. That's for sure. Here's the back. Well, actually, first, it's 1 hour and 43 minutes, rated PG. Oopsie, got that in backwards. And it's, when? 1993. Really? It's a 93 film. No, it's 89. Sorry, that's the copyright of MCA Home Video. This is 1989. Those daring, dashing swordsmen are back, and they're more fun than ever. Director Richard Lester had reassembled his original cast of swashbucklers for this sumptuous action-packed adventure. 20 years ago, D'Artagnan, is that his name? D'Artagnan, played by Michael York, Athos, Oliver Reed, Porthos, Frank Finlay, and Aramis, Richard Chamberlain, executed the beautiful but lethal seductress Milady de Winter. Now Milady's ravishing, it's spelled like Milady, ravishing daughter Justine, Kim Cattrall, has vowed revenge. Meanwhile, Athos' adopted son, Raoul, which is C. Thomas Howell, has grown to manhood, and when he and Justine meet, swords and sparks fly. Can the 4 musketeers stay one step ahead of Justine while they race to foil a cunning political plot? For dazzling swordplay, lavish costumes, dangerous romance, breathless excitement, and a generous dose of comedy, The Return of the Musketeers is all for fun and fun for all. Because they say all for one and one for all. Yeah. Where's my coffee? Don't I have coffee up here? Did I leave it right outside my room? I coffeed. I sweetened this with Tootsie Rolls. So, I've never seen any of the Three Musketeers movies before. I believe this is the 3rd installment. So at least by that nature, I did not know the characters. And it might be like 10, 15 years after the first one was made. At first, I was really, really confused. This movie made very little sense to me, but I also, admittedly, it's been a while since I watched this one as well, maybe like a month. Month. Do you say months or month? Is it nasal for you or is it avular? Month. Yeah, I wasn't like paying attention super hard when I first watched it, so I kind of told myself I'd rewatch it just for that. And I actually did take a lot of notes on this, like when I did start paying attention. Once I realized like how wacky the movie was. So I was like planning on doing a whole hour-long video just for this, but that's not going to happen. Unless the paper is in this stack. No, it's not. Is it over here? If it is like right around here, then I guess I'll do what for. Norm and Judy, the fish people. I thought I had it right around here. Anyway, this was hard to follow at first because I didn't know what plot line was important. Because there's stuff about like, what is it, a child king or something of France? Italy? I think France. And the child king is literally like 9 years old or something and thinks that he's hot shit and thinks he knows what he's doing. He isn't at all. He's just really arrogant and, you know, you want to just like, and he's abusive to people too. But anyway, so he's technically the king, but like functionally there's this bishop that like is ruling the land, but he I think is corrupt and whatever. All this stuff, like I thought that was what we were focused on, but then Justine enters and I'm like, oh, is this the main plot? And it's just, where my hands go? You ever seen hands do that before? Yeah! 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 So, it was hard, yeah, I just didn't know what was going on. And the musketeers were introduced in like this roundabout fashion. I was confused, but I'm sure if I had paid attention, it would have been like super clear what was happening. But they kept like mentioning different, or maybe if I'd seen the other movies, they kept referencing different people that I didn't know. And since they're weird names, like it didn't stick in my head. A lot of slapstick comedy in here. And some stuff that's just like, what is going on? Like, I remember at some point someone was, I think, getting a tour of a castle, and the leader, person in charge, whatever of the castle, might have been the bishop, was like, check that out. And he points to like the moat around the castle, where there are these, there's this, in the moat, there's this squared off part. It's like a you know, separated pool within the moat, and there are these 4 people in there on a sort of seesaw, like pump. Like, you know that old rail car thing where like there's 2 people pumping the cart and the rail car just like goes around? You know what I'm talking? Whoop, 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 whoop. It's like that, but they're sitting down and they're pumping like this. And so, you know, 1 person, 2 people on each pump. So, whoop, whoop. 1 person here, 1 person here, and there's 2 of them. And what they're doing is they're pumping water out of this little pool. And the bishop, he's like saying, look at that. They stop when I tell them to stop, or something like that. And he explains that if they stop pumping, they're like shackled to the floor. So if they stop pumping, water will fill up and they'll drown. So they're just left there to pump endlessly. And if they get tired, they're going to die. And I think it was supposed to be a funny bit, but I was just like, oh my god. Like, that's terrible. There was some other part later where that means we've been going at least 30 minutes. Whew. Where, what is it? I think it's the child king is playing with a gun and like shooting at his servants, but it's like a real gun, and they're like, I don't remember exactly what it is. There was just a lot of stuff that like, okay, like fun slapstick, haha. But if this is actually based on any like real stuff that happened, I know that like medieval torture, even modern torture, it's just like horrifying, like stuff that regular people have had to go through, like any of the atrocities of Japan during World Wars I or II. Like, man, the rape of Nanjing, so much stuff. There's, like, we are so fortunate. If you are not living in a war place right now, we are so fortunate to not be going through some of the crap that's going on right now, or that has gone on in history. Like, to not have to endure all that physical stuff, we are so blessed. All that said, the stuff that I was seeing in this movie, I'm like, this could be real, and that makes me really uncomfortable. But if it is real, like, that's real. Like, I guess it's good to be made uncomfortable, to be aware of, like, the atrocities of mankind. But at the same time, this is a comedy movie. I don't know, it kind of took me out. The way that Justine, I don't know if I don't think she's pictured on this. Maybe this is her, but it's like a characterization. This is the dude she falls in love with, which, you know, can you blame her? The way that she's introduced and that the romance starts between these two made no sense at all. So she's going around trying to avenge the death of her mother, whom the three musketeers killed. And the person she falls in love with is, the adopted son of one of the three musketeers. So she's not trying to kill him. The way they meet, she's, like, dressed as a priest or something, or a plague doctor. I think it was a priest. And, like, with her face covered. I don't remember exactly how it worked, but I think it was a priest. You couldn't see her face, though. She was veiled or whatever. And she's talking like a man. And, like, they definitely just had, like, a male voice actor. Male voice actor. And, she finds this executioner, butcher, I don't remember, a burly dude with an axe. And, he was involved in the murder of, assassination of her mother. Which apparently her mother was actually, like, a bad person and kind of had it coming, so. But that's unimportant to Justine. Anyway, she kills this dude, like the priest, whatever, suddenly, and then she's like, it's me, Justine. And then Raoul, the handsome man, comes by and he's like, priest, you killed that person. We shall fight. And, like, they fight briefly, if I recall correctly. And, then, completely unprompted, like, they're fighting, and then, like, the next second they're kissing. And maybe I should have been paying more attention at that time. I think I was paying attention to the movie at this point. But, like, only in a comedy movie. They're literally just like, but I don't think it was intended to be funny. This is why, like, I want to rewatch it, kind of, because, like, I don't know what I saw correctly or didn't see correctly. But it's like they're fighting, and then the next second they're and which was hot, let me just say. But still, it didn't make sense. I was like, wait, I'm here, but I don't know how I got here. So that's that. There's multiple encounters throughout with Justine and the Musketeers, the three of them, and then Raoul also. They're like, no, I won't kill you, Justine, and also you guys don't kill Justine, and also Justine, please don't kill them. That's my dad over there and his drinking buddies. There's multiple encounters where, like, Justine could have very easily killed a Musketeer, or a Musketeer could have easily killed Justine, and they just didn't. It kind of doesn't make sense. I don't remember how the movie resolves at all. I do remember it had a pretty comical opening scene. I had no idea about the Three Musketeers when I first started it. I didn't know it was a comedy, so I was watching the opening scene and I was like, what's going on? It's like in a bar or a pub, some dude's sitting on rafters and, like, keeps stealing food from people and, like, unintentionally causing a lot of mayhem, and just mayhem breaks out in this pub. And it was, like, very situational irony kind of stuff, and at times slapstick. It was fun. It was campy. Just like, okay, we're having a good time. We're making a cheap little movie. The sets were nice. The sets were good. Back in the days when you don't have CGI sets, I hate CGI sets. I will seldom like a movie that uses full CGI sets, which I know it's cheaper, but, like, it just doesn't look good currently. There's hardly been a movie that's a CGI set that I'm like, that's a full CGI set. that I'm like, yeah, this looks good. And I only just recently realized that a lot of Community, my favorite show, is also on a CGI set, which of course it is. Like, why wouldn't it be? But it was only until recently that I was watching free episode on YouTube. I think I noticed it on the Glee parody episode when Pierce comes to convert, shall we say, Shirley and Britta. Mainly Shirley, because he's got the choir kids. But as he's standing there, just like, it's so clear that it's him in front of a green screen. And I can't look at the show the same way now. But it took me a long time to notice that, which I'm kind of bummed out about on my own account. Ultimately, this was fun. There were a lot of weird things. I took a lot of notes, a lot of weird things in this movie that if I could find my notes, I'd be like, oh yeah, that was really weird. And maybe one day I'll rewatch it. If I ever end up getting the first two movies, I'll definitely watch them, and maybe I'll be prompted to rewatch this. I feel like it would have to be with other people, though, because I just don't feel like an hour and 43 minutes spent on it again. Or it would have to be like as I'm doing something else, which I do have a project over here to finish. Should I show? I've had this big CRT here. I've got like 4 CRTs in my room. You're really seeing the whole mess of my room right now. Let's get a little higher exposure. This big one, it's on its face right now. There's another one on its face. My room is such a mess right now. That one works. That one also works. That one worked up until it didn't. Who'd have guessed? Like all of a sudden it just stopped working. I think it needs a new horizontal IC. This one, my neighbor had put out on the old road to be picked up by trash, and so I picked it up because I am trash. And I found it didn't work, and I finally got around to a DigiKey order to replace these 2 capacitors. Look at this one, the lead. Is that going to focus? Yeah, one of the leads just tore out, the positive lead there, and you can see it lightly bulging there. I'm glad I was able to notice. It's a very light bulge, but you can notice a bulge there. He needed to come off. This guy's quite visibly bulging on the top. I don't know if it'll pick it up on camera, but it had a bulge there. Just replace those 2 guys, and works well enough now. Well, no, it actually doesn't. It used to like not even power on. It would give me a green light, and I think if I hit the power button, it'd go, but that was it. It powers on now. You get a screen. The screen occasionally goes, bzz, bzz, which maybe I need to replace more capacitors. Maybe it's something else. And when I just did this last night. When I tested it last night, no sound came through. I was trying to find. Actually, yeah. What prompted me doing this video is I was trying to find my RCA audio to 9mm audio jack cable so that I could see if it's a matter of the speakers or a matter of the RCA port. I'm about to lose charge here. We're about to go again. This is not a full battery. Give me 1 sec. Okay, we're back again. Sorry, I swapped my first battery with a battery that I knew didn't have charge in it a ton, so that's stupid of me, but I kind of wanted to drain that battery as well, because that was my other caster, my other aftermarket one, so I can have them both on the charging, both on the charging dock at the same time. Great. Anyway, that's CRT. Now, yeah, I couldn't find my RCA to 9mm audio cable, and my room, I've been kind of uprooting stuff. I'm on winter break right now, trying to get rid of all these old hobbies, like Star Wars books. I just finished this book finally. I haven't been reading much recently, and so like from start to finish, this book took me like half a year, if not more. And finally, I've been getting off the internet a lot and just trying to be more tactile. So, finished this. Most Star Wars books are really bad. This wasn't really bad, but it was also like, this is not that great. Like if you read good literature, and then you read a Star Wars book, you'll be like, yeah, this is a bad book. Or if you just like, even like other sci-fi fantasy, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? Anything Robert Jordan. I've been reading for like a year. I keep the first book of the, what is it, Wheel of Time or something? If you know Robert Jordan, you know what I'm talking about. I keep that at a local place that I volunteer at, and just like if I'm ever there and there's downtime, I start reading it. Been doing that for like a year. I'm 100 pages in, and it's like an 800-page book. But much better than any Star Wars book ever. Except for maybe Darth Plagueis. That's a very good book. I also liked Revan quite a bit. And John Jackson Miller, The Tales of the Sith? A bunch of short stories. I think I really liked those. And there's some other little things here and there. Check out my StarWarsReadingOrder.com account to see what Legends content I rated 5 stars. There's not many. But if I did rate it 5 stars, that was because I was like, oh, this is actually alright. Maybe not great, but it's alright compared to all the other stuff. I have to poop. We'll be back. We're back. We're empty. We're refueling. And so on. Good. I don't remember what I was talking about, which is good because that means we can start over. So I just watched the Return of the Three Musketeers the other day. Kidding. That's not how we started over. And it's just Return of the Musketeers, not the Three. I feel like to honestly give this a rating, I would have to have watched the first 2. Or maybe not. Because it should work as a standalone. But context does matter. I don't know. I'm just going to give this a flat even 3. It was, I guess, entertaining. No, 2.9. Just a little bit on the side of, like, don't bother. Like, it's kind of a dime a dozen for cheap comedy of the 90s, 80s feel. It's got that 80s feel, so don't bother. I'm sure one day I might rewatch it after having seen the first 2, but no, not right now. This movie, Clamshell alert. Clamshell. I do not like clamshell cases because they just ruin everything. They take up more space than they need to. They act like they're bougie, but they're actually not that nice. And this one is particularly dusty. Where's a rag? My corner of rags over here. They should have called me Mr. Microfiber. No, Microfiber should have been my name. Mr. Microfiber. That's my game. Because I just keep on cleaning with microfiber. And it's microfiber. Indian in the cupboard. In the cupboard. Cupboard? Indian in the cupboard. Indian in the cupboard is the name. Since this is a clamshell, we don't get a synopsis on the back. We actually get no information. Sorry, that is not because it's a clamshell, but that happens to be the case. The case happens to be the case. Does not have a synopsis. This is a 98-minute movie. An hour and 38 minutes for you hour heads. Rated PG, and does it have, might be from 1995, but I don't know if that's the copyright or the film year. This movie's really fucked up. Like conceptually. Yeah. So the premise is, or maybe we start with the message. It's training young white boys to be conquerors and controllers of minorities. Or maybe to develop empathy, but it's been a long time. It's been like half a year since I saw this. This was maybe, no, it's probably been longer. I think this might have been one of the first VHS movies I watched since getting into VHS. It might have been more like a year since I've seen this. Or maybe The Fox and the Hound was? I don't remember. It's a really weird movie. The premise is as follows. There's this kid, and he ends up, I think, with a magic cupboard? I don't know how I'm supposed to say this. Cupboard? I feel like people usually just say cupboard colloquially, but cupboard. Should I pronounce the B? There's what's it called? An assimilation? Is that it? Linguistics or annihilation? I don't remember. Where like one of the letters kind of gets. That's what I wanted to. Or no, is it? That's it. That probably came through really loud. I know that the mic on this thing like picks up high frequencies really heavy. So I apologize if that whistle is loud. Anyway, basically, this kid ends up with a cupboard. I'm going to say cupboard. If that's wrong for you, go to a different video. Ends up with this cupboard that I think his brother, a friend, maybe is throwing out because they were like gifted it for their birthday. And they're like, a cupboard, really? He ends up with it, something like that. And it turns out it's a magic cupboard. He also gets this little figurine. They always say Indian. Nowadays we say Native American. Just for cinematic fluency, I will also say Indian here. No, I won't. I will say Native American. He ends up with this little Native American dude figurine. Just like a toy soldier, basically, but it's a little Native American figurine. Little miniature. And he finds, I don't remember exactly how, but he finds that if he puts it in the cupboard, closes the doors, turns the key, and then turns the key again, when he opens it, the dude will be animated and will have life. Literally magic here, alchemy or whatever. Creation of life from no life. Or perhaps we could ask, was the Native American alive and turned into a figurine? Chicken, egg, I don't know. The lore of the Indian in the cupboard goes deep. So anyway, yeah, he finds out that this guy, that he can like bring this thing to life with this cupboard, and he finds out basically that any toy he puts in here will come to life. Like a Darth Vader action figure, T-Rex toy, they all come to life, which has harrowing implications if you think of it. Like, what all can this cupboard really bring to life, and what are the bounds of something being animated? Like, if you were to somehow, this is one of the philosophical questions, the ship of Prometheus or something, I don't remember, but that idea of like, if you have an ancient ship and you begin to refurbish it, and like every year you replace one part of the ship, and after like 100 years, every single part of the ship that is original has now been replaced, is it still the original ancient ship? Or since like now it's all been replaced, is it a whole new thing? That whole question makes me wonder if, like, by that logic, if you make the cupboard bigger, what life-size objects could you put in there, and what would happen? Like, yeah, I mean, if you manage to put a human in there and turn the key, are they going to now be frozen? And you know, he put like all different kinds of toys in there, and they became animated, but they were all, I guess, depictions of actual things that, you know, in our ontological framework has life. Can I say ontological framework? You know, like Darth Vader, he isn't real, but we know that like Darth Vader walks around on two legs. We know T-Rexes also walk around on two legs. Is that the requirement? He puts like horses in there too, little toy horses. But like, you know, if you were to put a screwdriver in there or something, I just saw a screwdriver over here. If you were to put a screwdriver in there, would the screwdriver be like, you know, like what is the balance here? Perhaps a very deep philosophical question, or maybe not that deep. I don't know, but it's a little spooky. Made me a little uncomfortable to watch. And the kid, I wish I could pull up a picture. Like I wish I was doing the full, you know, review thing here where like I have a scene pulled up and I like show a scene. The kid's a freak. Like whenever he animates something, it just does this full close-up picture of him. I'm gonna try to replicate this. He does this, and he'll like hold the little guy here. Let me grab a War Bandit. War Bandit. I would love to put this guy in the cupboard. He'll like pull it out of the cupboard and like hold the dude like. We going? Oh no, it just prepped. I'm sorry. He'll pull it like that. And he's got like this toothy grin, like he got a big gap here, you know, and like maybe missing a tooth or something. It's so uncomfortable to watch as he's holding this like sentient sapient being here. Sentient sapient, is that okay? I don't know. It's really, really alarming. And so like he keeps this a Native American dude alive. Learns his name. The dude's got a life. The dude's got a story. He's got family, people that care about him, people he loves, and he like starts to build like a ute or whatever, one of those long houses, still miniature, but like begins to rebuild a life here now that like this is where he is. But I guess like his created, if he did start out as a toy, the scenario in which he was created for is his life story, and Yeah, okay. The boy also, and so it's like the guy, the Native American, I forget his name, Poncho, Duckweed, Buckwheat is what I was thinking of. It doesn't say anything on here, so I can't check. But like the guy doesn't want to go back in the cupboard because he knows that means he's like going to cease to exist. So there's like a big moral question here. The kid, he's like playing God here, you know. He controls life and death of so many things. He ends up putting a cowboy on a horse in the box too, the cupboard, and the cowboy now wants to kill the Native American because that's how it is. And like the cowboy also doesn't want to go in here. The cowboy's got a gun, and like I think the kid at some point gets shot, and he's like, "Damn, that hurts." He's like 9. He doesn't say damn. Yeah, it's just really freakish to have this kid playing God, and every time he does, he's just like, and like he doesn't grasp the severity of the situation. Super, super uncomfortable. I always think of, when I think of this movie, the scene from Night at the Museum when Owen Wilson is a tiny cowboy, and I guess it's Ben Stiller holds him up, and Owen Wilson's like, "I don't like to be manhandled." I think of the manhandled thing all the time. That comes to my mind whenever I'm manhandled. So really uncomfortable movie. The Indian and the cowboy and Indian, I'm saying that. They fight a lot and like to kill each other kind of fight. And at some point they, if I recall correctly, they become friends, like best friends, and they're like, "I see the humanity in you." And yet, is there like, at some point maybe there's a mouse in the house? In the walls, and it like comes out, and I think there is a mouse, but also the kid accidentally drops the key into a crack in the floor, and so one of the two, the Native American or the cowboy, has to go into the floorboards with like a mouse down there, something like that, to try to get it, and to get the key back. I think the kid also like, creates a wife for the Native American, something like that. It's just really weird. Is that my... Yeah, my camcorder, the head, makes a lot of sound. I wonder if I can clean that and make it not make sound. It's in my walking around downtown, like not through it, but like actually around it. You can hear the head whirring really, really audibly, so I want to be able to fix that. Anyway, yeah, did it always make that sound? Because that's really loud. Anyway, at some point, one of the miniature people gets shot and dies. And they have a funeral. And I think maybe the brother of the kid like realizes that this exists, and like there's drama with that. Altogether, it's just like really conceptually freaky, and perhaps for that it should be a really good movie, but I honestly don't think I can get over how how freakish the kid looks when he like, I don't know, it I just don't like him. We're not gonna do it. I don't like him playing God. It makes me uncomfortable. Which, you know, maybe I should push into that discomfort and, you know, let the movie speak in whatever way. But I still think that the movie possibly could have been executed in better ways. And again, it's been probably a year since I've seen this. But, really weird movie. Maybe give it a watch if you want. I'd say watch it with friends so that you can make fun of it. It's weird. I'm gonna say, dang, having not seen it in so long, it's hard for me to say. I'm so tempted to just say 3 again because, like, I don't want to watch it again, but there's redeeming aspects of it and also unredeeming aspects. I think Siskel reviewed it and gave it a thumbs down, or like maybe a more fleshed out view, or maybe that was just on his website and somebody else reviewed it in his feed. But it's an uncomfortable movie. I didn't like it, and yet it's great for conversation. Let's just say it's a 2.8. Does that put it below Return of the This is where it gets hard. Like, is this a worse movie than The Return of the Musketeers? I'm not willing to say that it is, but conceptually it freaks me out. I don't even want to rate it. I'm just going to say it's a 3. That's a cop-out. I admit it's a cop-out, but it's a 3. We need to kind of speed through this. We've been going on too long. Call of the Wild. This is a short movie. I think it's also maybe in black and white. No, it's not from 1998. That's got to be a copyright. 100 minutes in color. When is it from? It cannot be from 1998. Was Charlton Heston even alive then? I'm going to use my phone. Don't look to Google this. Call of the Wild. Call. I'm terrible at typing. Of the Wild. Nope, that's a 2020 version with, is that Harrison Ford? I'm getting frantic, like Stigum Tantric. If Snickers guaranteed to satisfy. Of course, I make mad films. Okay, I don't make films, but if I did that, I'd have samurai. 1972. Man, I would have expected it to be older. Is this the same one? Yeah, I guess it is. So all that discourse to say, well, actually here, I'll read the back. Academy Award winner Charlton Heston plays John Thornton, a fearless man who's after more than gold. He wants to do what's right. Thornton works for the U.S. Mail and is the only person daring and smart enough to figure out how to travel the deadly 600 miles from Skagway to Dawson, Alaska, in the icy winter. His incredible dog, Buck, is by his side and part of how he survives. Call of the Wild is stunning entertainment and a superb adventure film classic. I was really looking forward to this movie. It seems cool. And when you got a guy looking so serious with a dog, you know, how can you not be excited? Unfortunately, can't really tell. It looks fine, but there's no mold, there's no nothing. But the tape was corrupt. Would not really show. And I skipped around to see if, like, at least judging by how much tape has gone through there, I believe this was a long time ago. I believe I skipped around to try to see if any of the tape still worked, but it's just like gray and like it wouldn't really work. So did not get to watch that. Bummer. It's been a test tape for me though. Some of my VCRs, will have a tendency to hold on to tape. If you're trying to eject it, like a belt has snapped, it'll eject the film, but it won't pull the tape back in. So I'd use like that or this movie as a test. Oh, this is up here. The Goodbye Girl. I already reviewed that. Let's get rid of that. Still don't like that movie. Don't like Richard Dreyfuss. Don't like Marshall Mason. They both bother me. Actually, literally, like, just looking at them on this cover, I want to hit them both. I want to sidekick them. Right in the face. In Love and War. This was another one that I watched a long time ago. Caught in the crossfire of a world at war, love was the last thing on their mind. But for a beautiful nurse and a heroic young soldier in search of adventure, romance blossomed and changed their lives forever. Sandra Bullock and Chris O'Donnell, star in Academy Award winner Richard Attenborough's epic love story about Ernest Hemingway and the romance which inspired him to write his masterpiece, A Farewell to Arms. A story of desperate love and imminent danger, it chronicles the relationship between the 18-year-old Hemingway and Agnes von Krauske, the medical aide who nursed him back to health after a devastating battlefield injury. PG-13. Do we have a date on this? Is this 96? It's 113 minutes. Yeah, we'll say it's 96. I don't really see anything arguing against that. Only potentially affirming it. In Love and War, they're a beautiful cast. They, on screen, like, I honestly don't feel like this picture does them justice for how dynamite they were. I'm a sucker for a romance. This was a good romance. I enjoyed it a lot. I was engaged. I didn't know anything about it going into it. I'd heard In Love and War before, like just through life, but I didn't actually know what it was about. I was like, I was a big fan. I really wanted them to win. If you haven't seen it, spoilers, I wanted things to work out. I was honestly kind of devastated when it didn't, because I thought it would work out. There's like constant like, will things work out after the war? Will they be able to stay together? She's a convent girl. I don't think she actually is. Although she is in... She's maybe not a convent girl, but yeah, really sweet movie. I have actually 2 copies of it, just coincidentally, because somebody gave me a lot of their grandmother's old VHS tapes. So I will still keep 1 copy because I will watch it again. I'm a sucker for a romance. I also really like Her Alibi with Tom Selleck, and is this person even a known actress? What is her name? Paulina Poroskova. They are also both very hot together. Young Tom Selleck and young Paulina. Y'all know what's up. This is a really weird movie. Took me a while to understand this too, but maybe I'm just slow with this stuff. But their romance, I don't know. I like a romance. I like the idea of just playfully, happily, falling in love and y'all live happily ever after. Of course, that doesn't happen in this one. It's a heartbreak. I don't know. It's just such an innate human conscious, ever since we developed consciousness kind of thing, so many of us just innately desire it, and when you have it represented on a movie, like, what can you do? These guys are dynamite. I could not go through the full plot, because it is a long movie, right? 6, 12. It's almost 2 hours. 7 minutes shy of 2 hours if I am good at math, which I'm not. Yeah. Really sweet. The Ernest, which I don't think it even says that he is Ernest Hemingway until like the very end, and I was like, oh, that was Ernest Hemingway, you say? Crazy. Yeah. he has like friends in the hospital that are like really really badly injured. I think he only got like shot in an arm or something. If I recall correctly, he didn't really want to go back into war. Maybe didn't want to be there in the first place. Was he a reporter? He may have not even been a soldier necessarily, or he might have been a writer, a newspaper writer, which would make sense for Hemingway. But maybe he was a soldier. I don't remember. It's been a while. I will rewatch it at some point, unless I die unexpectedly. Yeah, so he's got like other friends in the hospital that are like really badly injured. That like, one thing I think is he was buddies with this one guy, and then they like went to war. Yeah, isn't that how it starts? Like the first battle he goes into, he's got all these buddies, and then like air raid comes or something like that, and they just get absolutely devastated. And he, yeah, that's right. Yeah, he's like just chatting fun, having a good time with these people, and then like they're all dead, and he's like the lone survivor. And eventually he sees one of them in the hospital just completely wrapped in bandages, and not good kind of stuff. It's sad all throughout, but it's a really good story. I definitely recommend this. Giving it a rating, shoot, it's been so long, so I'm definitely biased because I only have fond memories of it. I definitely need to rewatch it to like really give it a fresh rating. But just from my memory, I'm going to say like a 4.1, 4.2. Definitely watch it. It's fun. If you like romance. If you don't, find something else to do with your life. Rush Hour. Rush Hour. Jackie Chan and... No, wait, darn. I wanted to do a joke about it and say Jet Li and Eddie Murphy or something. Jet Li and Will Smith, I think. It's not even a joke. It's more racist than anything. But, so... Whew! Thought it would be a Tim Heidecker-esque kind of mess up with On Cinema, if you know On Cinema. Anyway, it's Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker. You don't really see Chris Tucker much anymore. I say that, but I think he just actually had a movie recently. But still, Chris Tucker been like disappeared for a long time. Let me give this a stir before I say it. And Jackie Chan too. Is he doing anything these days? Two thumbs up from Siskel and Ebert. Ebert. One's all talk, the other's all action. Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker mix punches with punchlines in this hilarious action comedy. Chan is a tough Hong Kong cop in Los Angeles to solve the kidnapping of a Chinese diplomat's daughter. But the FBI wants none of his help and recruits a fast-talking LAPD detective, which is Tucker, to babysit him. Cultures clash and tempers flare as these two cops from different worlds quickly discover one thing in common. They can't stand each other. With time running out, they must join forces to catch the criminals if they don't kill each other first. 97 minutes. When's it from? 99? PG-13? Yeah, 98, 99. This is another just like cheap, let's have explosions, let's have action, let's have comedy movie. I watched it with Isaac, my roommate, downstairs on a projector with a VCR hooked up to the projector. The camera quality wasn't super great, so... camera quality. Yeah, when you... At least with the tools that I have a cheap converter for... Pardon me. For RCA to HDMI. I prefer to use a projector that actually has HDMI cable... that has RCA ports, which I had, but Isaac was like, no, let's use this projector instead. And I'm like, dude, why did you buy a new projector? I had a projector right here. And he's like, this one's better. I'm like, no, actually it's not. It's a cheap Chinese, just like Amazon type purchase. The one I got is actually made from, what's that big projector manufacturer? It was a good projector, but whatever. Basically, it didn't like come out picture quality super well on the projector for a variety of reasons. I remember so little from this movie. It was a very forgettable movie. It's definitely a movie that's like Red 1 is out right now. I think no, it's probably not out anymore. But it's Dwayne Johnson, Dwayne The Rock. He's not The Rock anymore. Now he's just Dwayne. It's just a cheap, pump it out, blockbuster, let's get some money type film. I think it was funny. I think I did have fun watching it. I don't know if that is because I was watching it with Isaac because he makes a lot of stuff fun. He's a fun guy. Or if it was like actually a good movie, I'm gonna hedge my money on it's not actually a good movie. I don't remember watching any part of it and being like, oh yeah, that's good. But it's an action comedy. It's not trying to be. I'd say skip it. I don't remember, again, much from it except for gratuitous explosions and more action drama than logical. Yeah, another run-of-the-mill, kind of the same vein as The Return of the Musketeers. It's just trying to make a couple bucks, be a quick laugh, get the big name people in there, because Chris Tucker, Jackie Chan, huge names in the 90s. I'm going to say like 2.8. It's just a movie. $1 Billion Hobo. This movie, I don't even have all of the, no, I do have all of the screws in the tape, and yet it's coming apart. It must be really broken. Huh. Interesting. I hate this movie passionately. This is the worst movie maybe ever made. I might actually end up doing a fuller thing on this. No, it's not even worth it. It makes no sense. I mean, it makes sense. I guess it's supposed to be a comedy. I'm pretty sure, but it's not funny. Here, it says, poor hapless Vernon, Tim Conway, learns that he has become the sole heir to the legendary railroad tycoon Choo Choo Train. That's his name. It's spelled Choo Choo Train. Choo Choo Train. That's the dude's name. Will Gear. And he stands to inherit a vast fortune in this fun-filled and heartwarming comedy. But there's one small hitch. He has to travel the rails as a hobo in order to learn the ropes of his rich uncle's business. Traveling undercover with Bo, Choo Choo's street with Bo. What? Oh, traveling undercover with Bo, Choo Choo's street-smart canine sidekick, Vernon just starts out on his new career when he gets sidetracked by crooks. Now he's on the express train to trouble and the high road to humor when he lands in the driver's seat of an international pooch-napping ring that'll put him in the doghouse for sure. Don't miss out the crazy antics when America's favorite funny man travels on the gravy train to great wealth and riches in this hilarious adventure for all ages. All aboard! It's a 93-minute movie. When's it from? It's rated G. From 91 perhaps, but that might just be the copyright of the publisher. I don't know. I really passionately hate this movie. I didn't think it was funny. Tim Conway, Vernon, his whole shtick is like he is very stupid. And like inept. Like not even like stupid, like he just cannot do anything. Like he is shown in the beginning of the movie like working at a number of different jobs, and like he'll be a fry cook at one point and just literally everything's catching on fire, but not, at least to me, it wasn't even in a comedic way. It's just like this dude is inept, he's negligent, he's like he doesn't seem stupid, he's just dismissive, negligent, and just causing a lot of trouble and like potentially harm to other people. And for me, if like negligence is leading to harm of others, I'm not laughing. I don't think that that's funny. And he is just like, yeah, just constant naivety, obliviousness, and unfortunately it's never funny to me. It's very obnoxious, and just like this dude, like he doesn't seem like he's stupid, he just seems like he doesn't care about others, and it bothers me a lot. There are times where like he's with this dog, and the dog is clearly doing an intelligent action, and the dog is clearly smarter than him. It's just obnoxious, and they play the worst soundtrack you've ever heard throughout the movie. It's like really kind of lofty, bumpy, like kind of like you're going to a vaudeville or a carnival thing, but it's not like, to me, it wasn't like, ha ha ha, this is adding jollity, this is fun, kind of bouncy music. It's like, this is actually just really obnoxious music, and I'd rather watch the movie on silent than with this music. And they just like bring it in randomly at times, and it's just like ear piercing and just really annoying. Like not at all funny, just please stop this sound, I want to die. I think I did watch the whole movie through, and it's just a really, really bad movie, and not in a funny way. Like, I don't even, usually if I'm watching a bad movie, I'm like, okay, is this bad for, you know, this reason, for, like, do I just not like the message? Is it poorly made? Is it like a pot shot kind of movie? Is it bad in the sort of way that, like, you watch it with friends, you can make fun of it and have a good time? I actually don't think that there's any redeeming qualities about this movie at all. I don't think that you could watch this drunk, high, with friends, with Norm Macdonald, with any of the world's greatest comedians. I don't think that there's anything you could do to make this movie enjoyable. It is absolutely my least favorite film. I would legitimately, like, if I wanted to be cruel to somebody, I would use it as torture for them. I would, like, is it Clockwork Orange with that? I would force somebody's eyes open and make them watch this with, like, noise-canceling headphones, just showing, you know, with the soundtrack. I would use this as a form of torture. I hate this movie so much, so passionately, I, like, want to break it over my knee right now. And for some reason, I want to watch it again with other people, just so that they know the pain that I've gone through having watched it once. It's a terrible, terrible movie. Never watch it unless you want to understand how bad, just obnoxious, completely unredeemable a movie can be. There's nothing funny about it. It is a bad, bad movie. It's worse than waste of time. It is like actual pain to watch. I dislike it so passionately. Terrible, terrible movie. Not only 1 star, if I could give this like 0 stars, can I give it 0 stars? If I could give this a negative amount of stars, I absolutely would. Like, I would like to burn it, but I know that that would not actually release the kind of emotions that I feel for it. I know that actions, like, people will get violent because they can't control their emotions sometimes. They don't know how to healthfully let stuff out. And I know that no amount of physical action could express fully how much I dislike this movie. It has to just be pure emotional rage. Rage Against the Machine. Just, this movie is so, so bad. It is an, what is it? A cyst, an abscess? Is that, can I say abscess? Is that the correct word? It is, abscess. It is a sore on humanity. If aliens saw this, they would obliterate us immediately. That, or they'd, like, find the universal therapist. This is just a bad, bad movie. An insult to humanity. Don't watch it. Terrible. Tim Conway? Fuck you, dude. This is terrible. This is a really bad movie. I hate it so much. So, so bad. And yet I've had it for like a year, and I just can't bring myself to get rid of it. This is a book. I read it. I've got a lot of Star Wars books. I've been getting rid of them pretty regularly. I had, like, at max, you know, probably over 500. I used to take such good care of my books. Like, oh, don't bend the, you know, don't get the little mark there on the top. You want your edges to be nice. Don't crease the edge there. Like, it's collector. Ooh. And now I'm just like, fucking Star Wars book. You know what I'm saying? Dime a dozen. Get this crap out of here. This was a fine book. No, it was, as a piece of literature, it's, I'd say, like, reads like a fanfic. But I've also read things that read as worse fanfics. I've read fanfics that are terrible. And I've read, like, some Star Trek books that are terrible. This isn't that bad. R.A. Salvatore, he's written good books, but it's just like, this is a run-of-the-mill, mediocre sci-fi book. You know, it's not saying anything. It's a Star Wars book. A Star Wars book could say something. I've read very poignant ones, but it's just like, the dialogue is obnoxious, the themes are obnoxious, things are just dealt with in a very stupid way. It feels childish. Feels like somebody that doesn't understand normal dynamics and, like, harps on some things too much, or just in really don't know, middle schoolish ways, like expressing grief. It just feels really on the nose. Granted, I've never experienced like a lot of grief, so you know, who am I to say? But whatever. Let's get out of here.